Hello to all the lovely people on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and my Limitless tribe. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me over here once again on this Wednesday evening. I hope you had an amazing week last week. The Diwali festival was there. I hope you really had fun time with your family, and I hope the goddess Lakshmi stays you with you throughout your life. So today is a very special day because you know what, I have a personal branding expert with me right now, right here, and she is the first one who is also from the theater space. I never had an artist from the like a performance arts background person. So she has like these dual things that she does. And I'm very fascinated to bring her on the show and open the threads to all the nitty gritties that she's into and help you also learn along with it what has been her journey like, and what does she do and why does she do it. So we will learn more about personal branding and everything, a little about her bio. She is the director for brand stories and she's the founder and creative director for Soulmate Motion Pictures. She's also a personal brand strategist and mentor, and she's a PhD in performing arts in theater from IGNOU, and also my one of my most favorite places, National School of Drama. She has done her post graduation diploma, which is like the creme de la creme. And then she also has written and directed several theater plays. She mentors artists and entrepreneurs, professionals across the world, and helps them build their brand through social media, digital marketing, and PR. And she's also the author of the upcoming book, which we will talk about on this show. And she has a long list of awards, including the Philip Kotler Award and the International Inspiration Women's Award, and lots more. So let's bring her on with a round of applause. Hey, Swati, thank you so much for joining me over here.
Hi,
Welcome to
Anshu.
the show. Hi. How are
Thank
you
you so much
doing?
for inviting me. I am very good. Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be on the show and truly humbled.
Same here. Same here. So, Swati, I mean, performing arts is not something that everyone goes for. People generally run after their being a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or maybe interior designer, whatever. But mostly, generally people don't think about, getting into performing arts. So, what was your how did you find that you were passionate about it, and how did that journey begin, and then how did you transition to personal branding, really wanting to know all the story behind it?
Thank you for asking such a lovely question, actually. Basically, you've asked my entire life in one question. Actually, before I share about myself, I would like to tell you that yes, you are right. It's a very unconventional field. I basically come from the small hilly town of Dehradun, and back there, not many people have really heard about such options. It's mostly engineering, or you're a doctor, or you're an
Yes.
CA, or you prepare for civil,
Yes,
something like that.
absolutely.
And my dad, he served as a scientist in defense. And my brother, who is also like who's younger to me, basically, he actually graduated from IIT Delhi. So you can understand that with that kind of a conventional setup, it was
Yes.
quite an interesting thing to take a stand and really choose to be here. And
Right.
why that happened was because I actually wanted to choose a place where I can make the maximum impact. It is not about sounding good, but I really wanted to make a difference. This vision I had for my life was that to create this kind of work that when tomorrow I leave the planet, even if the legacy continues, even if there is this one person who's upset and that person is feeling disempowered, the person comes across one of my stories or one of my videos, films, whatever, and instantly feels lighter, instantly feels uplifted. And I wanted to create that kind of a legacy, and for that I didn't want to stick to any one domain. I'm not taking the power away from any domains. Like, obviously you can make an impact doing whatever you want to, but I knew I wanted to tell stories.
Right.
And that's when I chose to be here. So that really brought me to this place. And then,
Wow.
answering your second part, how did I transition from the world of theater and storytelling and direction
Right.
to
Right.
personal branding? So, Anshu, I have been very fond of watching biopics, reading biographies since I was a kid. I
Right.
always used to feel, okay, they made this happen, but how? What was the story
Right.
behind? What was the struggle? What were the internal challenges, external challenges? So I wanted to know, I was very inquisitive to know about the behind the scene of the success.
Right.
And I also wanted to kind of tell that to people. So I
Right.
discovered that, if I can mix the or balance my love for
Mm-hmm.
storytelling
Mm-hmm.
and that with telling somebody's personal story,
Mm-hmm.
designing a character, the best place to be in right now is personal branding. So it's like, as a director, I get to sit and I get to,
Mm-hmm.
bring out the best parts of your life out into the world
Mm-hmm.
and create a understanding, a connection between you and the audience. Like, if you can be a chef, you can be a nutritionist, you can be anybody, but people, your audience want to know more about you than just what you do at your workplace.
Yes.
They want
Yes.
to be invested in you, just like we get
Yes.
invested in a protagonist of any movie that we watch. And
Yes.
that's the chair I sit on, and that's how I design. So this was like the perfect, it just makes sense. It just, everything fell into place.
Wow. So beautiful.
Yeah.
So was it? I mean, you make it sound very smooth to me. It sounds very smooth, but was it as smooth as you make it sound, or were there any challenges that you faced because of the fact that you are a woman entrepreneur in India, and the mindsets are different over here, and so many such things are there. So was it as smooth, or were there challenges?
Actually, to be fair, Anshu, it definitely was not that smooth as I tell you. And there were lots of challenges. And to be really honest, I can actually write a book on that as well, the entire challenges in the journey. But
Right.
long story short, to put it in few words,
Hmm.
and feel free to, cut me in and start a new conversation, because I can keep going on and on about the entire journey and the challenges and everything.
No, you can
Uh,
share definitely a few, because that lets us know how, because it's all about falling down and rising up. That's why when you are called a phoenix. So
yeah,
because this show is also about inspiring all the people who are struggling in their own lives with their own challenges, and they feel put down by so much of pressure by the society, the stigmas attached to things, the mental conditioning. And if
yeah.
they hear you talk about your challenges and how you rose above them, that inspires them to rise above their own.
Yes, thank you so much for that. I actually would like to highlight four challenges here. Um, Actually, these are four categories, and every other challenges, they fall under these. Uh, to begin with, the first challenge is downright basic, which is, I came from a service class family, which means that my dad was always working 9 to 5. And that was kind of a mindset to see him home at 5 or 6 in the evening. On weekends, he would not be there, like in the office, he would be with us. And that was the kind of mental setup that I came with, and also getting something at the end of the month and then working for it. Whereas an entrepreneurial mindset is totally different. The way an entrepreneur needs to work is very different. So, what really happened was this, that now when I look back, I actually felt there were many occasions where I felt I wish that my school you know, had instituted that kind of learning or imparted that kind of learnings right when I was a kid, learnings to be confident enough to think like an entrepreneur, opportunities to create money, not be
Mm-hmm.
ashamed of selling, not be, you
Mm-hmm.
know, feeling very difficult or challenging in sense of how to sell something or how to approach somebody to sell something,
Mm-hmm.
if it's a good thing or a bad thing. And so that was an entire angle of skills where I think the school could have come in and they could have imparted. But actually I like, all regards to them, they did the best they could. But I just wish that fundamentally they had a different framework, which I think also reflects in a lot of education systems today in our country. I think that's a challenge that a lot of education institutions, they still go through. There's such a vast difference between what they teach and what um, is required on the field out there. So that is something that was one of the basic thing. I missed the mindset of being an entrepreneur, so I had to self teach myself for years. uh, that was one thing. The second challenge was, I spent the core of my years in one of the very, like, and I have great regards for that experience. I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. But I get to spend that time in the heart of the most creative spaces. And I am referring to theater spaces that I went to and the training that I underwent. Now, there is one, of course, there is an amazing plethora of experiences and exposure that one can learn from. Is everything okay, Anshu? Did you?
Yes, yes. I think I had lost my connection, and I just came back on.
Sure. So I hope that I was still live when I was speaking and I
I'm
can
sorry.
continue. Or should I go back to something? No, I think I will continue just in case. You know, cool. So I'll just go to the second point that I was
Yeah, just
mentioning.
last 1 minute. Yeah,
No worries. Yeah. So I'll share it.
sure,
That's
sure.
okay.
Thank you so much.
We're still in a developing country. So yes, coming back to the,
No, it happens in the Western world also.
yeah, absolutely. I'm sure it must. It must be happening. So
I think
I
there is
think
a challenge with the net.
yeah, I totally get it. I totally get it. But okay, so maybe I can continue, and in case you feel there's a challenge, you can let me know. I can stop. Yeah, should I?
Yeah, yeah. Please continue. I
All
mean,
right.
don't bother. Even if I drop out, yes, yes. Your audience is with you. You will still be with the audience. I might drop out and I might come in.
All
I
right.
have three different connections. Even then, it's
I
working funny.
understand that, obviously. Okay, so
Yeah,
I'll
please
just go
carry
back
on.
to,
Sorry.
yeah, no worries. So the first point, the first challenge, the basic challenge, as I mentioned, was the education system and the absence of developing a kind of skill set and mindset that an entrepreneur requires. So I had to invest my own time and learnings after I did my post graduation. Also,
Hmm.
like at that age, a lot of self learning. I had to invest a lot of time, effort, and money to
Hmm.
really get myself trained under what kind of an entrepreneurial mindset is required and bring a basic shift. The second major challenge that I was mentioning was that I belong to one of the most amazing institutes, and I'm really full of gratitude that I was a part of that institute, and I received a lot of exposure. Having said that, I would still like to say that when you spend a lot of time amidst artists, you know unfortunately, there is in my experience, I mean, it might differ from other people's experiences completely. I personally believe there are no absolutes, but in my experience, I felt that there was a disconnect um, when it came to talking about money. So money and marketing and sales. So I always experienced that anybody I used to talk to, they always wanted a houseful show, like they would be very happy when the performance they've created, people, like lots of people have come to watch it and all their shows are houseful, they would love it. But when it came to talking about uh, covering the learnings of, or the basics of how to commercialize your content, or how to market your content, there was a lot of subtle underlining judgment, um, or some kind of a very not so empowering narrative around it. That was in my experience. So I felt that for a lot of years I also belonged to that kind of a segment where I used to look at money, or I used to look at the commercial angle of art, or people who were doing such commercial projects from a different lens. And despite wanting that kind of an outcome, there was still this invisible wall of the elusive belief of quality and stuff. So I believe
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of art institutes in our country, and I think they're doing some amazing job there, but I still feel that there is nothing wrong if they introduce a separate marketing segment to teach the artists how to
How
really
to?
use the power of marketing in the social
Yes.
media world
Yes.
today, because
Yes.
that is really required. If you are a content
Yes.
creator yourself and still you have
Right.
to depend on another external agency, or nobody is seeing you, you're not visible, then it's a very, very sorry state of affairs. If you're out
Yes.
there visible and uh, delivering the kind of work you can really deliver, people will be noticing you and watching you, and you will get a lot of more opportunities. So I feel that that kind of a thing could have been integrated in the art institutes, and that I came through and I missed that. So there were another couple of years that I had to invest in learning marketing, in learning the content,
Wow.
all
Yes.
this,
Yes. Yes.
while working as well. So uh, also in the last 20 years the world has changed like anything. There was no internet, almost no internet in the 90s.
Yes.
And
Yes.
some of the faculties who were still teaching in these institutes, and they are amazing faculty, you know but they have actually grown and made it huge when it was pre-internet era, pre-social media
Yes.
era. So I
Yes.
think, not taking away anything from what they are offering, obviously it's amazing, but it needs to be complemented with what has taken over the world in the last 15 years you know
Yes.
so that is something that I feel was missing, and that was a huge challenge, learning on my own, trying to figure out things, what's happening, and also breaking the mental internal mindset barrier towards
Right.
commercial angle, towards marketing, towards self promotion. There was so
Yes.
much of discomfort initially. It was like,
Right.
what am I teaching, if I am not comfortable endorsing myself? And
Yeah.
I will share this very amazing thing that one of my mentors uh, told me, and I loved it, and it really helps me. Probably your audience might also like this. Um, I was feeling a little shy and hesitant in endorsing my services, my quality, and I felt that probably it's because I would be boasting. I'll appear that I'm boasting if I will endorse myself. But this mentor said, Swati, if you are not confident and in love with your service, if you're not confident enough to declare that you are going to deliver good value, how can you expect your client to trust you? If I cannot go public and say, okay, I do this and I'm good at this, how can I expect my client to trust in me? If I just want to do everything behind closed doors or hushed. So that was something, it was a beautiful life lesson that I took on. But quickly moving on to challenge number 3. This was actually where it comes. I got married 7 years. Uh, it's been 7 years now. No, sorry, 6 years, 6.5. But and I have a really amazing, supportive family, and both my sides, like my mother and father and my in-laws, they have been very supportive that ways. I'm really blessed, and so was my husband. Having said that, there is this entire unsaid area that a woman entrepreneur, and especially if she's working as a solo entrepreneur, a self-employed person, that she has to go through and face before really proving herself out there.
Correct.
Which is,
Correct.
in today's time, maximum of my work I had to do on laptops or on my phone,
Right.
right? But when
Yes.
you look from outside, what are you doing? You're just sitting on the laptop full day, or you're sitting on the phone, right?
Correct.
There
Correct.
was a lot of work I had to do with respect to engaging with content. I had to research on what's the latest content that's going
Yes.
on, and
Yes.
also check on my clients' content, the kind of content they're working. So there were many times when I would watch that content, and if somebody else is watching me, they would feel ki, kya, you are just watching videos full day. I'm like, that's my work.
Exactly. Right. Right. If people do
It's
not
my,
understand, yeah.
it's my work. So I experienced that over the last few years. I'm pretty sure every woman would have her own challenge. But despite that, I experienced something very peculiar to women who were working from home or who were working for themselves. So if you were working for, say, if you were working in a company or teaching somewhere, um, there were certain time zones for you. Okay, 9 to 5, she's expected to be in her office.
Right. Right.
So that's the work time. And when you come back, then you're at the home.
Right.
But if you are not working for an external structure, if you're no timetable from somewhere outside to adhere to, you
Right.
make your own timetable, and you run your small team as well. Then what happens is that there's a lot of internal unsaid expectations, when you are working with your own timetable. And this is what I experienced talking to many of my women entrepreneur clients as well, in their sharings as well, that somehow uh, everybody feels entitled to a women's time.
Yes. It's that's so true. So true. Totally vouch for that.
Exactly. So that's really challenging to really put it across that I
Yes.
am working right now.
Yes.
Please don't disturb me. Please don't ask me आज खाने में क्या बनना है, what has to be cooked today, or please don't just ignore me. I'm at work right now. So that kind of a space, it's really challenging to find in our, especially in our society, and um probably in other societies as well. It's just because I have got exposure to my own society, so I'm talking about them. But I felt that, if probably I always had this question, that what if the genders were reversed? What if a man was looking at the laptop and sitting and working wearing specs? uh, would anybody just enter and, you know be willing to talk to the person and be
No.
okay? Or would you just say that, no, he's working, don't disturb, don't talk
Yeah.
so loudly, and
Absolutely.
don't switch on your
Absolutely.
television right now, he's working, or
Yes.
go to the other room and receive the call. But if
Yes.
you're a woman and you're sitting in a corner, it might be one of the most important presentations of your life as well. Is it difficult? Like, it's really difficult. Why is it difficult? And they are not, nobody is a bad person, but it's just a social narrative that's just there.
Yes.
You have
Yes.
been living on, I still remember, it's only when I got married, that's when I started really understanding my mom's challenges. And I really
Right.
felt this. Why would we actually go back home after an entire day of outing? So dad, mom, me, and my brother would be out full day. And when we came back home, and if we were hungry, we never thought of going to dad and saying that, Papa, we are hungry. Can you give us dinner? It was for taken. We have to go to mom and say, Mom, we are hungry. Where's the food? Like, as
Right.
if she was not, like, she's not tired, as if she didn't spend 8 hours with us just outside. But
Right.
so I feel how for granted we took her time. And how
Right.
entitled we always felt about, like, if she
Yes.
said, like, we never expected her to say, I'm not going to cook the food today, I want to have some me time for myself, I'm going for a foot massage. I'm like, I can't even imagine my mom
I
saying
know,
that.
I know. Yes.
Okay, go cook Maggie for yourself and give Papa also and make one for me. I'm going for a foot massage. No, that's how we can imagine.
Yeah.
So, but then when did and how come we allowed that kind of an entitlement live for so long?
Yes.
And who is really paying the price? Who is quietly paying the price? So that was something that I somehow experienced, and not just me, a lot of other women clients experienced. And I felt that there has to be this social narrative of accepting a woman entrepreneur, that, like, her time is just as valuable as anybody else's, and they has to be very strong, work time and home time.
Yes,
So that
absolutely.
definitely has to be taken care of. So I, in like beginning, I mentioned there are four challenges. I've mentioned three.
Right.
Uh, so I would just like to just touch upon the last one, and which is,
Yes.
um, there is a, you know what do you say, very basic gap in understanding how to manage finances when you run a company, you know and when you have to think from your mind, and when you have to make impulsive decisions, or you have to let your gut lead
Yes.
you, you know
Yes.
so that, I think, again, I felt that, that was something really challenging that I had to come to terms with. Obviously, we all have our own learning graphs, and we all pay different costs to learn certain lessons.
Yes.
And now, when I look back, definitely I think every challenge did contribute to me in some manner. I am who I am, and I was able to build myself because of them. But I would really want that, moving forward, if we can really change the narrative for women entrepreneurs, and for every entrepreneur for that matter. But because I'm a woman, I feel I can relate more deeply with other women and their issues.
Yes.
I feel
Yes.
that, if we can really change the narrative for a women entrepreneur, also if we can start introducing and talking about business, entrepreneur, and finances right when your kid is in school.
Yes.
You know?
This is one topic that has come up on this show particularly, mostly, with so many guests, where we, find that if this is taken care of in the beginning itself, then, the later so many struggles that we go through, all those challenges will automatically disappear. But I think it's by design. We are not supposed to, because we always speak about this industrialization that happened during, the British, and they wanted just to churn out the labor's kind of mentality, where
Yeah,
people don't have a brain of their own. They cannot take decisions, they cannot manage finances, they cannot start things, they don't have enough courage.
yeah,
So I think this has really come up every time. But I think with social change enablers in the form of, be it a person like you, or anyone else in any form, I think we all need to come together and make that happen. I
yeah,
think it's high time, because
yeah,
we are all struggling, because we are the product of that very orthodox form of education. We didn't learn anything. So true. Thank you so much for bringing that up. And
oh,
thank you. These
absolutely.
challenges are so true. I could relate to each and every challenge. I'm also a woman entrepreneur, and I could really relate so much to each and every challenge that it straight came from your heart.
Yeah,
It
it
touched a
did.
chord with me. Yes, it did. It did. So let me, ask you now, what is this personal branding all about, and
Mhm.
how do you, tell these stories of the people? How do you decide what? Because a person has so much in their life. They have so many stories. If you take it from, the time they were born till today, they have so many. how do you decide what story do you want to bring out to the public, and what is the facade that you want to put forth, all those kind of things, and how do you mentor these different artists and coaches and all that?
Yeah, actually, that's like a bundle of questions put together.
You can answer them one by one.
Yes, for sure. I'm sure you will be like, you'll help me navigate through
Yes,
because,
yes,
yeah,
I
I'll
will.
move on to the next sections and next sections. Um, to begin with, as you very beautifully said, yes, every person is full of different aspects, and it is so difficult to really put them in any box. And that's
Yes,
not what I endorse. It's not possible to put you in a box at all as a person. Uh, and also, it's not this time, this current decade is not about just being a chef and that chef for the rest of your life. I mean, uh, this decade has actually brought in so much more. The entire way that this entire world is now moving towards is uh, more and more flexibility in terms of experience and exposure. People don't want to stick to just one role for the rest of their lives.
yes,
So
yes.
it's and they've realized it's one life and they want to live different experiences, and that's absolutely amazing. So what we talk about, how we begin is we just look at your next 3 years timeline. We just look at what it's a very internal process. First we actually go in and we there's an entire discovery phase for a month and a half that goes in, and I have like one session is 2.5 hours, so which actually tends to go to 3 hours sometimes, because it's a very beautiful journey of discovering what the person really wants. It's about how the person who the person is right now, and who the person sees himself or herself to be in 3 years or 5 years of time. How can that align? So point A to point B, that's what we just put on paper, the first thing. And then we make sure that there is a path that aligns it.
Right.
Okay. And then looking at it from an external perspective, and also looking at the kind of uh, product or service that they're offering, and to who are they offering. So probably if they have been experiences when they have been certain nutritionists who had come to me, and they were also, so they were nutritionists as well as healers. Again, I'm telling you that I just share that nobody wants to stick to one role right now. Most of them
Yes,
actually
yes,
want to experience and explore.
yes.
So she was actually a nutritionist as well as a healer, and she shared that she would experience that though she is open to everybody to help anybody, any of the clients, but the maximum amount of people who come to her are women in their mid 30s.
Okay.
So and then she said that she also feels that she can really relate to them, and she loves talking to them. So when she's working with that segment, like that group of women with those particular set of problems, she feels, one, the most fulfilled, and two, she feels that she can deliver the highest value.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yes, and she also said that somehow magically, word of mouth and something or the other, and vibes or whatever you can call them, but she felt that almost 70% of her clientele was made out of that segment.
Beautiful.
So all three things were in alignment. It gave her great fulfillment. We didn't have to go out and make a new audience. This audience was already noticing her and coming towards her. And the
Right.
third is that she felt that she could deliver real value to those women.
Right.
So when all three things are in, it's a win-win situation for everything. She was very happy with that kind of connect. That's when we actually discovered her niche. And then from there we come back and we work on the entire business model. So actually, yes, it's actually sometimes weird. Many times people and I, like my clients and I, end up spending more time discussing about their business model and product mix. than actually working on their personal branding, because I discovered it very early when I just started with this work, Anshu. Sometimes people would just come to me to talk about help us create good content, and in the process I would feel many of them don't even like talking about their product, like they don't even like their product, and I was like, then why are you talking about it, you know?
Right. Right.
You know, be this is the trend and everybody is doing it, so we have to do it and all that.
Oh,
Right.
that's a
You know,
trap. That's a trap,
yeah.
huh?
So I have received this training as a director, and I was very blessed that way is to get experience from finest of directors and learn the art of, teaching how to act and stuff. And I can tell you, there is no other platform that can communicate like more strongly whether you are lying or you are speaking what is true to you than the camera lens.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're bang on. You're
So,
bang on.
we can all, and we can say that acha, actors always, they are pretending to be somebody else, and in their real life, no. We can always tell, when the actor is not feeling that emotion and just pretending, or good acting, bad
Yes.
acting. Anybody can say, even
Yes.
a
Yes.
10-year-old kid can say that no, he doesn't like this person, because you can
Yes.
sense it. So that
The vibrations, yes.
if you don't like what you're doing, you cannot really send those vibes across. You cannot look
Yes.
excited or fake yourself that okay, you are really in love with the work you're doing. If you're not loving the work you're doing, why would people work with you?
Yes.
You have to be good at what you're doing, and you have to
Yes.
enjoy what you're doing. Like, there has to be some of you invested in some way into what you're doing, right? So, long story short, this is how we really go back and find out what the person is really invested in. Then
Right.
we look at the target audience, the niche, the product mix, look at the finance plan and everything, and 3-year plan. And everything is clearly in front of us when that basic work is done. That's when we understand who the person really is, and who are these target audience that the person wants to connect with. You know what? And we do a very in-depth study about the target audience and their preferences. So what
Right.
is it that they are studying? What platforms are they visiting? What kind of
Hmm.
content are they engaging with more? And that's where we marry the two. So who the person is, picking up instances from the person's life
Right.
that would resonate with this audience,
This audience, yes. Yes.
and making sure that the product or the service is, there's this word, that technical word that we say seeding. So it is seeded inside of that particular narrative, and that's how a character sketch or a narrative is built. you know
Wow.
and I would like to say something here. I always quote this example. It's my favorite, and everybody who I have mentored have always mentioned this particular example to help them understand what is a character narrative or character sketch. You remember this? Have you watched this film Sholay?
Yes.
Yeah, and you know who Gabbar was, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, the first three words that would come to your mind the moment you think of Gabbar would be that okay, he was a Daku, he had a team of his own, and he would go and he would exploit, or he would, steal from villages. And stealing is a very, I think, a very decent word in front of what he used to do, and I'm missing out on the word, so I hope that you know what I'm meaning. But these are the three. Like, he was a very furious person,
Yes.
merciless, brutal person, whatever.
Merciless, yes.
Yeah, you want to call him. So these are like 3 to 5 characteristics that immediately come into your mind.
Yes.
Okay, and if you notice, not all 5 are about his profession.
Yeah. It's about him.
It's about him, and that's the biggest trap that people fall into. The thing, when it's about personal branding, all they need to do is talk about their professional achievements, professional testimonials, work, 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 work. No, people don't remember that. Don't know, they're not even interested to engage with that kind of a content. They're interested to know who you are. So that's how we actually bring out a person's character sketch narrative. And then once when we reach that, agree on that kind of a narrative, that's when we make a 18 months plan. And so it's not really possible to, it's possible to go viral overnight, but to build a powerful brand equity, you
Yes.
need more than just, a couple of viral videos. You
Yes.
become a legacy. People want to
Yeah.
buy from you and refer you without interacting with you only when you have consistently over a period of a year and a half worked on building your brand, you
Yes.
know. And it is both online and offline, but obviously majorly online now, especially after the pandemic. It's the world is moving online like never before. So online also, you have to make sure that you are, everything that you are working, you're writing or talking about, or even your social media presence, your images on social media, the way you're describing yourself, the conversations you're engaging with. At the same time, what kind of articles are you writing, and if there are
Right.
some articles or anything that have been written on you, whatever
Right.
it is. So it's like a mix of digital marketing, social media content creation, PR, a lot. Like it's
There's a
then
lot.
from there
There's a
on,
lot.
yeah, entire team that comes in,
So, do
because
you
it's
take care of the PR part as well? Approaching all these different publications, maybe, or these channels. I mean, if someone is doing it on a little bigger level and all that, do you do that PR work as well in the personal branding space?
yes, Anshu, we have to do it. Initially, when I started, I just started from for the love of content creation. But very soon I discovered that even if my clients were making amazing content, because there is so much of content options out there now, it was really difficult to get the right number of or make a right mark with even good content. So I realized that I
Mm-hmm.
need to have a strong digital marketing presence. That's when we
Right.
included and extended that pillar. And that's when I
Mm-hmm.
also realized that there has to be a strong credibility that builds into. So there has to be somebody else talking about my client other than my client themselves, right?
Right.
All
Right.
the time posting testimonials, look how great we have done. Look, there has to be
Uh,
some other way of
mm,
people's validation, while somebody is doing a Google check and learning about them.
mm.
So that's when we extended the to the PR side as well. So yes, right now I have a team who manages the entire. So you basically just have to have 2 meetings with us in a month, and probably we do get connected because we are so involved with them. And most of my clients are actually my friends now, like very good friends. So it's because we kind of become partners in their dream, in
Yes,
their
absolutely.
goals.
Right.
So relationship really transforms into something different. But yes, we do offer entire solution because it's not really possible. I realized that to expect that they will manage on their own and their team can do it. That's
Mm.
not really possible.
Beautiful, beautiful. I loved it. So, any personal branding stories that you want to share with us? Any such stories, that will delight?
Absolutely. Actually, the story that so there are many stories, frankly, but what I want to share is little different. It's like one of my first experience of understanding what a right kind of personal branding can do, the power. And it goes back to 2017. That was the year when I still didn't start using the term personal brand strategist for me. So I was
Okay.
still acting as a director and I was still like,
Right.
into that process. But it was a very amazing story. One of my seniors from National School of Drama, his name is Dinesh Yadav, he had been working on this folk form from Rajasthan for a lot of years, like quite many years. And there is this amazing folk form uh, that that roots from Rajasthan. And the beauty of the folk form is that, there's a predominant Muslim community
Mm-hmm.
that actually sings uh, couplets from or shlokas and uh, like there's this term, specific term, and I'm sorry, I'm missing the word, but they sing it from Ramayana and Mahabharata.
Okay. Dohe?
No, they're not
Uh,
really dohe. They have a word for it that they mention,
okay.
and probably yeah, it might just come to me. But the beauty of it is, see, imagine here there's a predominant Muslim community, and the only identity they have been carrying for 400 years with them, generation after generation, is that they sing, and there is a particular way, and they can continue singing for an entire, like, for hours and hours on predominantly Hindu texts, religious texts.
Amazing. That's
So
amazing.
yeah, I mean, I was blown away when I was like, and
Hmm.
then so it was him who reached out to me, and he told me that unfortunately, because of this entire, you know, um, art suffering and all that stuff, a lot of artists had actually left that particular village, and currently in that village there was only one man who was left, who knew or who could sing in the original folk way, the way it
Okay.
used to, he received it from his previous generations. So
Right.
he was the one who knew all the thousands of couplets by heart, and he was 75 years old.
Oh,
You know, might be 70 years or 70, but above 70 years old.
above
So
70.
yes, and that's when he told me that he wants to make sure that we can do something for him and for the community, so that you know
The legacy is
um,
carried
the
forward.
legacy goes on, exactly.
Yeah.
And he did try to reach out a couple of other places before that, and they said that fine, we'll give you some budget, a basic budget, you make a documentary on it. But a documentary is made with, not because then you just know that okay, this is going to die, and so we need to put we'll just capture the, we didn't want the art form to die. What we
Right.
really wanted was that there are more opportunities to perform for them.
Yes. Yes.
And that's when we actually came up with this idea of taking help from Wishberry. We went to the village. We shot an entire video with them. It was
Mm-hmm.
scripted and directed, conceptualized by me,
Mm-hmm.
and along with him, and along with the beautiful folk artist, we created this campaign, and we ran that campaign. It ran for over 60 days, and we raised a significant amount of money,
Mm-hmm.
and that then got utilized for staging their performances at several places of the country. you know and the last that I heard was that he and his team, like there have been few more people who joined his team after that. They have performed at some very good international events. So that
Wow.
was a very amazing experience for me, and I realized that probably, for all we would have lost a 400-year-old legacy.
Yes.
And probably, I mean, I don't know how long we can hold on to that, but at least we made sure that it lasts a little longer.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that is one
At
story
least
that,
they got the international platforms. There will be more people coming up to learn it from him, which he
yes,
can pass on to those people. And if they keep getting the opportunity of performing at these good places and they can sustain themselves, I think then that goes on. That
yes,
goes
that's
on.
true.
Yes.
That's true.
Wow.
So yeah, that's when I realized the power of storytelling, especially when it is about telling a story of a person who's struggling to do something, and how people can get together and notice. That's how visibility can help you stand for a
Yes.
cause. What happens
Yes.
after that is probably beyond your control, but I mean, I can play a role in at least amplifying the purpose of an individual.
Yes. No doubt about it. Absolutely. You are like a catalyst who's, yeah, helping support the purpose. So I think you have a book as well, right? A book that you are coming up with. It's about the interviews that you have done in the personal branding space. So would you like to actually share something from that, and what it is all about and what does it bring to the people?
Yes, absolutely, Anshu. I have a very interesting relationship with the book that I'm working on right now. Partly because, I'll also confess I'm a work in progress myself. So, the book I was supposed to release a few months back. But every time something of the new development keeps coming in, and it keeps evolving into a little different form, and it obviously it's for the betterment of it. But I do feel that, okay, when will I finally launch it? Because I have been talking about it for like since last year now. So when you brought the book up, that's the first thing that came into my mind. Okay, finally launch it, Swati. But yes, talking about the book, the title of the book is Power Brands of India.
Mm-hmm.
It when the pandemic hit last year, I already knew the power of social media, but especially when in April everything was shut.
Mm-hmm.
uh, there was a huge shift in a collective understanding of the power of social media. But there were
Mm-hmm.
many, I strongly want to also bring this point up here, especially millennials and the generations prior to them. So these are people who were born in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. We were not born with Instagram in our hand.
Yes.
We were
Yes.
not born with being comfortable with the idea of a lens focused on us 24/7. Our
Yes.
relationship with the camera was this. We have, we are attending a birthday party, and the camera person comes, and suddenly everybody drops what they are doing, and they get together, stand in a pose, give a smile, click, the photograph is done, now we go back to our world. So
Yes.
that very different relationship we had with the camera. It was not
Yeah.
like, okay, we are walking down the stairs and the camera is rolling with us and we are fine with it. No. So when this entire Instagram thing came up, YouTube came up, and we suddenly felt this entire shift in the way you need to market yourself, your work now, what I discovered, and where I still find a lot of my clients stuck, is they're not able to alter that relationship with the camera. you know so they still feel, so they will be doing some work and suddenly the camera comes and they will become the smiling person, the nice, and I call it the nice girl syndrome. So it's like basically the good person, like, no, 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 we want the real you, and like, this is
Right.
right, when the camera comes in. So why I brought that example up was that many people felt
Mm-hmm.
that there were two things: either they didn't realize the power and the scope of uh, social media that could be to their benefit, or they felt that only some people can do it. For example, they felt only content creators or actors or these people, it's for them, it's not for us.
Right.
And I wanted to break that, uh, the belief. I wanted to tell them that no, irrespective of the field you are in, irrespective of your age, if you believe in your content, if you love what you do, and if you are creating, if you do it, there are immense results that others have caused. And here are the interviews of those people. So the book
Right.
comprises of 30 interviews, uh, of people who across domains, and some of them are legends actually. Like they are leaving huge legacy behind. So it's really
Amazing.
amazing to know, to learn from them
Right.
how just few videos
Hmm.
helped expand their businesses and their
Wow.
products and services exponentially. Like there was no looking back after that. So they have shared their real experiences, how they would feel, what they would feel, what were their internal experiences. So it has interviews from the likes of Dr. Ujjwal Patni. It has interviews from the likes of Liu Coutinho, Amit Tandon. So we have people who are now really known by almost
Yes.
every person
Yes.
who is fond of the work that they're doing. So
Yes.
and how did that happen? Like 6 years ago, there was a different reality. What was the shift? I'm sure there are 100 other things that they did along with it.
Yes.
And this
Yes.
also played a very important role. When I say this, what I mean is their attempt to actually make themselves visible by putting out something that they knew they were good at
Right.
without having to be content, like actors or performers. Like of course Amit is an amazing performer, that's said, but I have interviews from farmers. I have interviews from singers, who never came in front of the camera, but then how they used social media to really expand their businesses from point A to point B. In some cases, Anshu, point B was 100x of what
Wow.
was point A.
Awesome. Awesome.
You know, so
That
that
is remarkable, actually.
yeah, so that is the kind of collection of interviews I have, and I have curated them, and the book should be out by December this year.
Really waiting to get my copy.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have architects, we have interior designers, we have doctors, who
Right.
I have interviewed, who have, like, the golden play button from YouTube. When you get a golden
Yes.
play button or a
Yes.
silver play button only when you
Yes.
have like massive amount of following. So, and,
Yes.
and these doctors, they confessed that, before they started this, they still had to think how to get the right audience. And once they've started this journey, after giving in consistent hard work for 8 to 10 months or 12 months, then there is a time today when they switch on their phone only for 2 hours, because else, their phone will keep buzzing the entire day, and it's not possible for them to really cater to all of them. It's one of the strongest form of organic lead generation,
Yes.
where you have built
Yes.
a strong credibility, where you have let people in into your world, where you have allowed yourself to be vulnerable, and
Yes.
let people trust you because you have been open and honest with them. So
Yes.
once they see that you're authentic, once they see that you like what you're doing, it's all right, even if you're not the absolute expert in your domain, which is what
Yes.
most people keep telling, position yourself as an authority figure, as a domain. I respect they have their ideology, and obviously they would have their own reasons to say that, but I don't endorse that ideology. How can you turn a expert, in a couple of years?
Yes. So
How
true.
can you
So
say that
true.
you're an expert? Like, Facebook just announced the metaverse thing, and you don't know
Yes.
in next year the entire way the businesses are functioning can change
Yes.
in a couple of years. If you are an expert, how can you keep up with technology? So I think it's okay to be honest and open and tell them that you are a work in progress as well, and you do have certain expertise on certain levels, and you would love to help them. So that is something which I think people need to be okay with, and they need to be, like, be more confident, believe more in what their purpose is, they love doing, the intent is, rather than being scared of what if they put out one, somebody points out that, okay, this is not the right knowledge. Or somebody points out this is not the right knowledge, what you're putting on the video. Fine, just say, okay, thank you so much for bringing it to my notice. You just contributed to me, making me a better person, or, improving in this. I'm going to read
Right.
about it, come back to you, and that's all right.
Absolutely. So, Swati, want to ask you really, you learned performing arts for a very long time. You did a lot of stuff related to that, also directed plays and everything. How has that developed you as a person? How has that developed you, your personality, and developed you as a person?
I should admit that of all the questions, that's my favorite.
Thank
So
you.
thank you for asking such a beautiful question. It's a delight to answer that. Why and how has it helped me? So Anshu, I have written scripts for a lot of plays, and I have also read a lot of plays before writing scripts. So probably for every one play that I have written, I must have read 20-25 plays before that. Now, when you read a play, or when you are teaching acting, you how to or you're teaching an actor or helping an actor prepare for a particular role, you cannot let that actor judge the role he or she is playing. So for example, if and I can give a very basic example, um, again going back to the fun example of Sholay, but when we saw um, Amitabh Bachchan play his role, he was invested in that. When we
Absolutely.
exactly. When we saw, uh, do you remember the name of this amazing legend artist who played the role of Gabbar?
Yeah,
Gabbar.
he's
Oh God, I have this thing with names. I forget the names. I'm supposed to remember them, and I'm going to remember it right after we end this call. I'm sure. Okay, so with all respect to that amazing legend artist,
yeah.
you get who I'm talking about. But
Yes, yes, yes.
when he played the role of
Absolutely.
Gabbar, maybe he was not that cruel in his real life, but at that point, you didn't feel that he was judging Gabbar when he was playing Gabbar,
Right.
right? So similarly, whatever XYZ can be your character, but you need to really put all your guards down, unlearn what you have learned, opinions, beliefs, and ideologies, and understand the character's ideology, which can be very different from who you are as a real person. And then nobody just suddenly becomes a miser, or nobody just suddenly becomes heartless, cold.
Right.
There is always a backstory to it, and
Yes.
most of the time, the underlining thing to any person's behavior is this: people just want to be loved, acknowledged, appreciated, and seen. And when you don't give that to a person for years and years, that's when you see the person turn into somebody who is probably very yeah, I'm back. Very,
Yeah.
very, very, brutal or sarcastic or jealous or envious. So
Right.
all the
Right.
darker emotions, they actually come from a lack of the experience of being loved, or
Yes.
actually they come after a person has experienced feeling unwanted, undesired, or alone.
Mm.
So it's not like a baby was born cruel into the plan. The baby was born and the doctor said, okay, here is a cruel baby, and you know,
No,
you can,
absolutely
he's going
not.
to be very mean
Absolutely
to
not.
everybody. No, the
So
baby
true.
was
Mm.
just as pure and as
A
lovable
baby
as
is a baby. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. What did the baby get when the baby was growing up? And it's not necessarily coming from the parents, it's coming from anywhere, from the school, from the environment, from the friends, from television, social media, anywhere. But where is that coming from? And that constitutes into who the baby eventually becomes. So again, coming back to the thing, that's the kind of backstory that any actor needs to understand before the actor decides to play the role. And when you
Right.
really go back into little intricacies of understanding how a personality became that particular way, you cannot, continue hating the personality because you know the reasons. You know
Yeah.
what the personality had gone through in the past. So
Right.
that kind of an exposure and a practice on a regular level for me, combined with my practice of writing. And when I'm writing, I'm like being a mother. So if I'm writing a story and there are four characters, and one of them acts in this way and one of them acts in a different way, I cannot choose and say that, okay, now the wicked one is speaking. He is very wicked. And no, I cannot. No, I have to, when I'm writing, I'm suddenly X and then Y and then Z. And when I'm Z, then I am Z. I have reasons and logics to say what I'm saying and behave in a particular manner. And same holds true for when I am X. So simultaneously, I had to develop this muscle of getting into different people's mindsets, different
Right.
people's personality traits, beliefs,
Hmm.
and understand where they are coming from and why are they
Right.
being built this way. Now
Yes.
that
Yes.
kind of a muscle memory and understanding, mental muscle basically, as you can say,
Right.
helped
Right.
me develop as a person because it gave me the power of empathy.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I couldn't help but bring it to my personal life, into my professional life as well. So when, as a personal brand strategist, there are moments when um, my clients confide in me their fears, their childhood fears. So if I'm asking them, why aren't you making a video? Why aren't you getting a photo shoot done? And they would say they don't like themselves. So they still carry the the conversation that, oh, she's,
Yes.
oh, look at her, she's not going to, jara sa lambi hoti to ye hota, jara sa ye hota to ye hota. She's
Right.
comfortable in their skin.
That
And there
baggage,
is
yeah.
a lot of other things. There's so many things that they would share, and they sometimes they wouldn't be comfortable with it. But
Yes.
that place, I am able to hold and give them a space, provide a
Mhm.
space to them, a safe space, without really judging them at all.
Mm. So beautiful.
That's the magic that I feel that I am blessed with, only because of the training that I have gone through. Otherwise,
Amazing.
as a person who was 16 years old when I moved out of Dehradun to Delhi to get my admission in the graduation period, I was a very
Uh,
strong headed, opinionated girl. I am still opinionated and maybe strong headed. But that time, I was very strong headed and I have very strong, I was very righteous. Okay, this is right, this is wrong. You are right, you
Correct.
are wrong.
Not accepting the grace of life.
Not accepting. There's actually no white and no black. Really, this is the truth, whole and soul of life. It just depends on what angle you're looking at the person. You will see different
Yes.
shades of gray. And
Yes.
that's so important. And as a personal brand strategist, as a director of brand stories, this is what I can embrace a person's story and the person just the way they are.
Beautiful. And that's what matters, I think. That matters so much, because only when you are non-judgmental would you be able to put it across to the people it's supposed to reach in the most, beautiful way. Because if you become biased and you start judging, you'll never be able to do justice to their stories.
Yeah,
Yeah, wow.
absolutely.
So beautiful. So, the last question in this round before we move on to the next short round is, your mission in life, I saw that, is to create a happier world by telling the true and inspiring stories. And
Absolutely.
my mission in this show is basically to get inspiring people like you on the show and share your stories, who did not have anything extraordinary, no such extraordinary backgrounds, or born in royal families or with a silver spoon, or nothing extraordinary, just the ordinary people, but who are doing things which are like out of the box, who are living their purpose in life, and with all the challenges that they have faced, you have still risen up. So that is my purpose, to bring on to the ordinary people who are still in the zone of being pressurized by all the things by the society, and who are still not able to get the courage to break free and be themselves and live their purpose. That is my mission with this show. So it's Limitless show. What I
Yeah.
want to ask you, Swati, is, do you believe in limitlessness? And if you do, who do you think is limitless?
Wow. It's a beautiful question, and I would really like to acknowledge you for starting this show with that kind of a powerful context, because I believe if a context is strong, it just attracts the right people and it becomes into a legacy sooner or later, because more and more people start owning that purpose and that context. So, congratulations, really, on that, and I'm really proud of you and so happy.
Thank you
And
so
I know it
much.
is not easy, but I'm so happy for you that you're doing it. And I also feel blessed to be a part of this show. Thank you so much for including me into this
Absolutely. A
list.
privilege to have you here.
Now, I just wanted to ask you one thing. When you said, who do you think is limitless? Do you want me to describe or what I feel, or you want me to name somebody exactly what?
However you want to answer, the question is all yours and it's totally your perspective. However you want to answer it.
Beautiful. Thank you, Anshu, for giving me that space. I want to say here that there is no other side. And I want every person who's listening to this right now and even in future to know this, that it is never going to get easier. It
Yes.
is never going to be okay, this is this side, and then this graph will happen, and I am going to be here. And that day my life will be sorted. It is all in your head. Your life is never going to be sorted, and it is sorted all the way as well.
Yes.
So there is no place to reach.
Yes.
And when
It's
you don't
always
have,
a journey.
it's always a journey, because when you start from point A, you had XYZ as challenges. The moment you
Yes.
overcame them and you reached point B, before you realize that you've reached point B, you have ABC as new challenges.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because after reaching to point B, you don't want to go back to point A. You want to go to
Right.
point C. And sometimes that C is not here, that C is here.
Yes.
Because life is just like a heartbeat. It's just like the sine cos wave, the when it goes up, it
Yes.
comes down. But we always feel, okay, now we ab acha ho gaya, everything is going to be good only from. No, that's not true. You're on a high, and understand there will be a low. You will make wrong decisions. There will be challenging times. Some days will be tough, miserable. You wouldn't feel like getting up in the morning out of your bed. You would feel as if
Yes.
everything is just, you're the biggest loser on the planet, and you're going to disappoint
Yes.
everybody. And you will be
Yes.
feeling very scared, and you will be feeling as if life is just, what's the point of life? Why are you've not done anything? You'll feel like complete mess. And that can happen just the next day of you receiving a great award, which you felt 3 years ago that if you reach that point and get that award, your life is sorted.
Yes.
So, boss, that's not true. It never gets sorted. And
Yes,
the
it never
moment
does.
you really understand that, if somebody wants to rise up, there is no other, it's not river ka this side and then river ka that side. It is the river.
Yes.
It is the river. And the beauty of life is that it will be unpredictable.
Yes.
The beauty
So
of life
true.
will be that there is no other. So once you reach this side, it's not so whenever you see anybody talking on a talk show or giving a TED talk or a Joe talk, whatever, the beauty of it is to understand that that person is sharing their past and not their present. To assume that today they have no challenges, they have risen and they have made it possible, and now the life is sorted, is like the biggest lie constructed. And that is what really pushes us back, because we feel that, okay, this person has sorted it out, has made everything work, but I'm still sitting in the chair of a loser. No, that person, for all you know, might be going back in the green room and thinking, oh, I messed up, I said this and that wrong, and then receiving phone calls of bad decisions just made just a day before. So bringing it to one point, concluding it, I really want to say that it's not, there is no other side, there's no place to reach. If you really get it, you will understand that you today are also in the process. And when there
Yes.
is no destination, no place to reach, when it's never going to get easier, but it's never going to get more difficult. you know if you
You have
know
to start somewhere. At least you
Yeah,
have to, I think, that beginning courage that is required.
yeah. And for all you know, Anshu, there are people like, even watching this or even thinking about this is being in the process. So probably the process has been started by the subconscious.
Yes.
It's not like
Yes.
they have to, turn the key and get started. It's like they are in the process, and this is the process. And this is,
Yes.
however ugly or messy, this is the process. And when they
So
reach point B, there will be a point C, and point C, and then D. So when you don't have any other place to reach, and it is the river, then you are limitless.
so beautifully put. Thank you so much, Swati. That was a beautiful answer. That's a complete different way, the different perspective. Because yeah, what you said is so true. People sit back in their chair and they look at people giving these talks and they think that wow, this person has arrived. But it's not true. You never arrive really. Yeah, from a probably a social standpoint, there is a certain way how people perceive you, maybe because of the fame that you have received or because of the money that you have made. But you have not never really arrived in life really, because you are limitless.
Yes.
You are always going to get better and better and better and better, and there's no limit to that. Till the day you breathe your last, I think you keep learning and you keep growing. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Bang on. Anshu, that's what I mean.
Yes, thank you so much. So we move on to our next round, Swati,
Mhm.
and here we are. So, what is Swati's story in 3 lines?
I wasn't prepared for this. You're asking a script writer to become. I can write 3 novels on it. Okay, so let me quickly try and do a miserable attempt. Oh, but my story in 3 lines, right? Hmm. From being role number 32 and invisible, unloved, un in experiencing that the person is unwanted kid, not as a home but in school, to actually discovering that this is the purpose of a life, helping so many other talented people discover the talent within them and then shine bright, be visible to people and experience the joy that they deserve.
Wow.
So that's my from problem to purpose.
That's a beautiful story. That's a
Thank you.
beautiful story. That was not a miserable attempt at all. That was an awesome attempt.
I know you're being too kind, but yes, thank you.
So, what are the top 3 myths that people have regarding the performing arts or the theater space? What are the myths associated with that field? Top 3 myths.
The theater means poverty. uh, Theater has a, if you are into theater you cannot make good money.
Mm-hmm.
And theater means that you can start acting anywhere.
Okay.
So if you want, I can share something with you.
Yeah, sure.
So basically, whenever I used to introduce that I'm doing a course in stage designing and theater techniques, which is also close to direction from National School of Drama, people still would want me to say, back at like the neighbors and the extended family, oh really? कुछ act करके दिखाओ.
That's interesting.
And then the third myth is that theater is a precursor to you coming into television and films.
Okay.
That's not true. Theater in itself is a huge world and it's a
Yes.
different art form altogether.
Right.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. What's the life mantra that you live by?
Actually, there's so many.
The
It's
one which is like very, some people is like, Gio or Gine do, live and let live. And for some it's like, what's the biggest one, like, which is very close to you and you always live by that mantra?
to live in a manner that even the grass below my feet feels loved.
Wow. That is so, so cute. I mean, that itself, brings that feeling of love inside my heart listening to that. So beautifully put by you. Amazing, amazing. That shows what a beautiful human being you are. Who is your biggest inspiration in life?
Actually, it's my dad. It's my father.
Nice.
Just the act of consistently showing up day after day after day into the role of a father, always being there, making sure that we get new shoes every year. Doesn't matter if he has to wear uncomfortable shoes himself. So that being is somebody who, that kind of reliability, that character quality is something that really inspires me.
Awesome. The values that you follow while helping someone with personal branding, what is the biggest value that you follow? I mean,
The biggest value is authenticity. You are
authenticity.
what you are. Yeah, it's not, so it's not like if I am creating a narrative for you, then we will put things that are very different from who you are. They
Right.
have to align with your vision.
Yes. Lovely. To you, art is, I mean, fill in the blanks. Art is,
Life.
wow. What's the biggest learning in your life so far?
Forgiveness is not for others, it's for yourself.
Amazing. I love it. I love it. Your favorite holiday destination?
Um, Actually, it is McLeodganj, Himachal.
Very, very near to your place, actually, I think, where you are born
Um,
and brought up. Very near to
yeah,
Dehradun.
Dehradun. Yeah, like it's a 7 to 10 hours distance, but yes, it's
Nice.
basically actually any destination that has hills is bound to be my
Okay,
favorite.
you're a hills person.
I'm a hills person. That's true.
Nice, nice. Amazing. Thank you so much, Swati. That brings us to, close for this show. And it was a fantastic, fantastic conversation. I learned a lot. I was inspired. And thank you for bringing so much of value and wisdom to the show.
Thank you for inviting me, Anshu. And I must say that you have this unique quality of listening and being present, and at the same time providing a very, very comfortable space to your host, which is very unique. I really know and I hope that this show, and through this show, you actually get to create all that you want. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you means so much to me. Thank you so much. And I wish you all the best in your all your endeavors and for your book as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye. Hey people, it was a fascinating, fascinating conversation for me, and I'm still, reeling in into the same, the last 1 hour or maybe more than an hour of conversation. So I hope you enjoyed and you had lots to take away and implement it in your life. As I keep saying that show after show, that do not just watch it like an audience, take even one golden nugget. If you can take out of the each and every show, I think it will make a major difference in your own life. So with that, I want to bid you adieu. Good night, have a great week ahead. God bless you. Bye bye, take care.